Well, when we last left off, we set off west. Once again, I keep forgetting to bring up the map along with all of my other Genesis stuff, but we went to what was probably called Torzod Keep or something like that. We found a little tiny guild outpost, and we wanted work. They said there's a dispute over in this dwarven city to the west. Issues with goblins. So we thought, oh yeah, that's the way we're going. We'll head there. So we didn't take the experimental teleport stick, and instead we tried to find a more respectable teleporter. Uh, like sold off our mounts. Um,
I
I had
kind of think we should have
315
taken the
XP, I think.
experimental one.
I mean, I assume that all teleports led to the same place. Joe's notes, and we probably still would have seen what we saw
True.
right before we teleported. But
True.
we teleported. Somebody stormed that little house, and everyone else there died. We somehow wound up in the Ice Queen's palace.
Evil Elsa.
Yes. What do they call her down in the town? The Bloody Red Witch or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
I need to check my notes again.
Let me see.
But we were entertained for a dinner while some poor peasant man was impaled on an icicle outside for trying to get his kid back. And then we got a guide from her household who took us down to a village in the valley, and we debated what to do. We were like, we'll just like approach that job from the east. And then we asked around about the Ice Queen and learned that she kidnaps kids. And so we decided to wait for the child hunters to come next time and give them a piece of our mind because Key is pissed.
Or weapon, whichever.
Oh, and the hit squad was almost certainly done by servants of the dark god that we are tangling with now. Because I tried to ask who it was, and the spirits could not tell me.
This is true. Well, you asked if it was them, and they could not tell you. Therefore, that seems to be an answer.
One sort of answer.
Joe got me my own copy of Terranath, so I don't have to keep stealing his.
How is Torzev Keep the only proper noun that I remembered correctly from all of this?
It's the Bloody White Queen, by the way.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Thilda.
I'm impressed, Tom.
It's way more than I would have gotten.
I'm just shaking my head that only the rando town we were in for 10 minutes is the one proper noun I remembered. Not the villain, not where we are now. Nah.
You remembered Key was pissed off that this lady was like kidnapping them.
I remember all the events. It just been a while since the detail.
I'm still waiting for Joe to get me that compendium that I memorized. What god should I invoke to make the White Queen submit to our demand?
I imagine a lady like her does not worry too much about the gods.
If I become one, she should worry.
That's true. That's not off the table. Although, if we want to get on that, we need to start preaching the good word.
Very true.
I mean, everywhere we go, got to get some converts. Or at least some believers, even if they don't convert.
I haven't done enough yet to earn God status.
We're going to tell them about Key. We're going to tell them about Asha, though. Like,
Not
that's a good
sure
question.
Yet. Asha can be my god form.
Or worse, we tell people that Asha is a god so much that it like eventually just spawns an identical copy of you who is Asha and is a god.
Oh, that's getting way too American Gods.
And we just need to get that one symbol, the tulpa. And you know, when you stare at it and you just keep thinking something for enough, it just becomes real. Remember that episode of Supernatural?
Not familiar with that one, but I've only ever seen bits and pieces of the show.
It was way back in, I want to say like first or second season.
Not gonna lie, I still think of the giant teddy bear. This giant suicidal teddy bear almost every single time I think of Supernatural.
I never watched that show. Now I'm really intrigued.
Why am I here? 4 tea parties. Is that the same episode?
No,
that's like a wish fulfillment episode, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a later season. The other one was 5? I want to say that one is in like 4 or 5, maybe even 6.
Yeah, it's probably in one of those seasons.
Because I stopped watching after 7.
And I think I stopped watching right around the same time. And I haven't caught up yet. I just can't bring myself to do it because I'd have to watch from the beginning, and there's like 15 seasons now.
I read the synopsis of the last season just because I wanted to know how it ended.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite what I expected, but pretty par for the course.
My understanding, having not watched much of it, was that they essentially rehashed the ending of season 5, but a little bit different. And then just out of nowhere, they had the final episode.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that is exactly what happened. Yeah, and then just out of nowhere, that very last episode. Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing is from everything I've read about the finale, it sounds like the second to last episode ends on a pretty solid note of like, oh wow, there aren't really monsters in the world anymore. I guess we're good. Like things are all right now. We can just live our lives. Next episode, they're fighting a vampire. And nails in barns happen.
Okay, maybe I'll watch the last episode.
I haven't watched it. Like I said, I just read it. I kind of do want to watch it though. Apparently it actually pays homage all the way back to the first vampire episode that they did, which was in season 1? Like towards the end of season 1 when they found John.
Yeah, that's right.
Pays homage to everything except Cass, who doesn't get to show up in the finale. I know about the finale almost exclusively from the memes and how angry one of my friends, who's been a huge Supernatural fan, is.
Amy and I are both on the team of like it should have ended with the first apocalypse storyline.
Basically, when
That's a big clue.
well, Eric Kripke wanted to end it at season 5, and that it would have kind of like sucked as an ending, but at the same time, it also made sense. So
the entirety of the original storylines led to that point.
And that's why he left. Kripke.
Makes sense. But that's also a clue when you're talking about the first apocalypse storyline. Maybe your story has been going on for too long.
Right?
Maybe you're doing this for the money now.
Once they started getting into like, I think I watched through the Purgatory season, and once they started getting into the Leviathans and like,
yeah, that was season 7.
Yeah, and then
I stopped watching about that time too.
Yeah, then they were getting back into like, you know, God was showing up again, and I'm like, we did this already.
It's not too dissimilar from the X-Files. That's been my COVID like guilty pleasure is rewatching that, and it's like, oh, it's aliens. No, it's the government pretending to be aliens. No, it's aliens pretending to fool the government to being aliens, or pretending to fool the government that it's aliens. It's like after like, yeah, I think I'm up to like season 5, and it's like none of this makes any sense in a meta story anymore. But Scully and Mulder, man.
I always preferred the Monster of the Week version of Supernatural anyway,
100%.
as opposed to the overarching story. And as the seasons went on, it became much less the Monster of the Week. So, you know, I really liked the first 2 seasons because their overarching thing was just find John, and then, you know, and
the demon with yellow eyes.
Demon, yellow-eyed demon.
And it was scary.
But at the same time, it wasn't, they didn't spend whole episodes in a row doing that. You know, it was like, okay, we got a tip that this was here. Oh, he's not here, but we got, you know, but let's take care of this for these people.
Yeah.
So
it was a good thing they had.
Yeah.
X-Files is the same way though. Like at least half the episodes are just completely insular with nothing else really mattering. Nothing else really matters. And then they have the serious ones, and they have the funny ones, which are the best ones of all. Yeah, the symbiotic brother. Yeah.
I would say 1 through 3, because 3 was that short season because of the writer's strike. But that also meant that it had to focus a little more on the overarching story versus Monster of the Week because they needed to get that in. But season 3 gave us, we need to open the doors and let them all in and fight like men in tights. Ooh, that one was like one of the first ones I watched, and it was freaky. We'll switch from
people have been
scary.
enjoying our Supernatural stream.
The Supernatural stream with like 3 people who haven't watched like or one person that hasn't watched any of it, 2 people that haven't watched since season 7.
And everybody else, and the other 2 have just kind of watched here and there. Also, spoilers for the last season.
I'm pretty sure that's legit.
The Chevy Impala goes to turbo heaven.
The only one left is the Impala. There was an episode where the Impala got possessed. I think there was a couple of them. The very first episode it was.
They wanted to have a tragic ending. Just make Dean put the Impala down at long last.
Everybody's
the only way, Dean.
Everybody's crying as he has to like ditch it in a lake or something.
Okay, so I'm reading the final episode, and I'm like reading it, and I'm like, this is not Sam and Dean, because if Dean had died, Sam would have gone to freaking ends of the earth to bring him back.
It is very silly in the context of everything else that's happened in the show.
Okay.
But have you seen Sam's Party City wig? Now that's the real horror of the last season. It's so bad. We almost brought it back to the game, but then pulled us right back in.
You would think after 15 seasons they would have a good enough hair and makeup budget to age Jared Padalecki.
What the hell is that?
That's old Sam, like 20, 30 years later.
With no wrinkles. Extremely nice taut skin.
Just a weird maybe spouse in like the background of one shot, like she's a blurry cryptid just standing on a porch.
Okay, all right. I can't do this anymore. All right. So we were gonna go kill the White Queen.
Carry on my wayward son.
Oh my god, that wig is awful.
All right, Amy, I know what we're going to be for Halloween this year.
Old Sam?
Old Sam. All we gotta do is put on a Party City wig and put on a Fred Rogers sweater. We're good.
You probably borrow one from Bri.
It wouldn't fit me.
Did we figure out when we thought that the next child would be taken?
I feel like it was about a month ago, and they're supposed to come every month. So it was like a few days, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking like a week, maybe. So
Shot so much.
Wouldn't it, I don't know, be a little more prudent to like find out more about her and like why she has the powers she has?
Oh, I could actually help with that.
Or did we get a little bit of that information? I can't remember from the last one.
I think the townsfolk didn't really know much about her, just like what she does. That she supposedly protects the area and takes kids in return.
Yeah, so I would like to learn more because truthfully, while I want her to stop doing it, she was nice to us and she did, you know, grant us hospitality. So I wonder if there's a way to like get her to stop. So I'd like to understand why she's doing what she's doing. Yeah, is there
Yeah, is there
why?
or a temple or anything in this town?
It's a fairly decent sized town, according to what I wrote down.
Remind me what town we're in? I don't have that written down.
Hail?
Hale.
Hale. Just north of where the Frostfell Mountains are labeled on the map.
Yeah, that's right. We overshot where we were supposed to go by a ways.
Well, not by choice, though.
True.
Time for some low efficiency travel. Yeah, I guess Crimson's definitely down to research more and come up with some sort of plan. He's also trying to just think of questions that would be useful to ask the spirits in this context. But I fear our questions might be a little too open ended for my powers.
Well, you could always ask if we can stop her. Like, will we be able to stop her?
I guess that's kind of open ended unless she's secretly immortal and we just didn't know.
Well, she did tell us her story. She didn't really obviously give us a time frame or anything, but that seems like a story that should be somewhere. Somebody else has to know that story. If nothing else, because another powerful mage, whatever, was killed because it was her master.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, like, I can't remember. She told us one story that they came out of their own free will, and I remember I wrote down that those kids were like resigned to their fate up there. But what were we told when we were down at in the village that like pissed me off to the point like I know they were like taken. Was it because they were taken not of their free will, like they were just stolen?
I don't think it. I think it's that because they collect a token each month, usually a child, and it's like it's in that gray area of they're I guess technically there by their own free will, as in if they don't give the token, they'll lose her protection type thing. So, I mean, on a very loose interpretation of it, but I think that Key got just pissed off because, you know,
They're definitely prisoners.
Yeah.
she was
okay.
separating children from their parents.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, Key wants to know what she's protecting them from too. So like she's got a list of things that she wants to find out. So I think she might either try to head to a library or try to talk to someone that will actually give her answers.
Yeah, I'll join you in that. Actually, we should probably ask a little bit more about the people who come down and do the child collecting.
That would actually
roughly how many
probably
are there? Just soldiers or magical beings or what have you?
right. Joel, did we ascertain were they like normal soldiers?
I don't think we were told this, but maybe we were. Otherwise, it's something that we'll have to look into. Were we told, or did we find out, or will we need to find out how the children are chosen? Like, is it like, does the village have to decide which kid they give up, or do they all line the kids up and the soldier picks one? Like, how is this child chosen? And I don't know. I actually don't think that we know that yet, but that's something that we should probably look into because it can help us figure out where or who might be taken next.
Yeah, it looks like we're hanging around here for a while.
Yeah, I expected we might be as soon as I suggested, oh, we should ask around about that person.
So I guess the next step would be to find the person that coordinates these pickings, or are they random? So figuring that out first.
True, if anyone will talk to us. I guess would we make like
You know what we need to do? We need to go to one of the villages,
the smaller ones?
the ones that have their children taken.
I thought it was all from the city.
Yeah, isn't that all around here? Everybody?
But does that include this city? Okay. So we need to find somebody willing to talk, probably someone that has children.
All right.
I
Maybe we
guess
should go to the local watering hole.
would streetwise checks or something like that be helpful to like, just try to ask around and find someone who's willing to talk about that?
Well, what can hurt?
Makes sense. Hey,
With my two little greens.
truly blessed dice there.
Nice.
all blanks on the purple. That's
I know.
easy.
Take a picture. It'll probably never happen again.
Oh, never say never with these dice.
Knocking on wood right now.
Joe about to
And
roll
that's
an
just
attack
my
and
dog
get
out.
blank difficulty dice all across the board. 5 triumphs. Have you ever heard of an Omega crit before? Your character just dies on the spot.
You're dead. Your mom and dad are dead. So are any aunts and uncles you have and or cousins.
That's a new record.
That hit so hard, it's a TPK. You mean the attack hit everyone else? No, the attack crit so badly the entire party is dead. Doesn't matter what it hit.
It actually wiped out the entire world. If we want to play, we got to start over in a different world.
Yeah, congratulations. You guys summoned a meteor and created a mass extinction event.
We joke, but I'm just waiting for our meddling to just kill a ton of innocent civilians.
I have a role-playing game called Cat Thulu.
Holy shit, tell us more.
You to play a giant cat that just like reaches out with its
No.
paws into the world.
Cat Thulu is who the regular house cats are trying to protect the world from. You're like a normal house cat. Like you're not even like an anthropological cat or whatever, like a cat person. No, you're like literally a house cat. And you have to go through, and you like at night or whatever, when your humans are asleep, you got to go through and like protect the world and protect your humans from Cat
That's
Thulu's
incredible.
stuff.
No, we were trying to figure out like how the process in which the children get chosen. At least I think so.
Any information surrounding it, like what those parties look like, how they do it, all the works.
Why they choose the children they choose.
What they're being protected from, that they have to give up their children. Also, how long has this been going on?
So many questions. Answer them all.
Now.
What age? What age? Thank you.
I'm disappointed there's not like an evil sorting hat that gets put on each kid's head and like gives them some kind of message.
I don't know. I'm getting Hunger Games vibes off of this.
Yep.
I was going to make that joke too. That starting at age 12, your name goes in the hat once for every year you are. And if you take extra food, you get an extra name in the hat. And then someone can choose to tribute or someone can choose to volunteer.
So this is information we're gleaning off of, a couple different parents. Like we're not able to corner one person that's just willing to talk to us.
Does anyone, if we were to ask, does anyone in town know when they'll be back next or when they think they'll be back next?
So does that mean in the city that they just they get the kids ready in case they show up?
So it could be anywhere. It could be any of these mountain villages, whatever. They just prepare every month. And would it be a different role to start asking around about what it is they're being protected from?
I feel like this isn't as loaded of a question. Not like, hey, why are they kidnapping your kids? It's like, what are you guys scared of? I mean, if push comes to shove, if we can take out whatever they're afraid of, then the queen has no reason to take kids.
Stands to reason, but there's still kids in her.
Well, we'll go free them, of course. But if we just take her out and there is actually something that is threatening them, we're still going to have to deal with that. Otherwise, what's the point in taking her out?
Key doesn't want to take her out. Key wants to force her to change her ways.
Well,
Key needs to learn she can't change other people. No, I'm kidding.
Jewel is a good counterbalance to that instinct.
you can only control yourself.
Well, who can say what will happen tomorrow? Anyway, I might actually be able to help with those questions. I have a decent idea of what I might ask the spirits here that might be helpful. We can verify if they're coming here next, which will let us know if we need to hang around town or do some more scouting. We can verify if there is some greater existential threat or if this is just an old protection racket. And finally, I actually just have a question spare. I haven't thought of anything super valuable, but I can maybe ask if there's some sort of weakness or limit to her powers.
Could always ask what the best inn in town is if we're going to be here for a little while.
That's too open-ended. Has to be yes or no.
Just ask if the one we're at is the best inn in town.
Is that really what you want me to use that question on? I'll do it, but it's going to be a while before we can ask another.
No, we're fine. I think that asking if this is a good one.
He's just like looking at Jewel like, are you for real? Like, we're trying to like advance our mission and you want to know where the best freaking food is? Like, she's not saying it, but she's just kind of shaking her head at you.
Jewel is living her best life here.
Jewel just, I gotta admire it. She just is like, I want to live comfortably, and I'm gonna take out bad people while I do it, and maybe some good people. I don't think that she cares.
If dark
that
magic
much.
is what it takes, dark magic is what she'll use.
You're like the definition of chaotic good.
Anyway,
Go for it, Daniil. Ask the questions you need to ask.
with this mission in mind, Danil will return to his rented room at the High Courtesan Inn. Yes, I just had to scroll to the right
See,
page.
I feel like we don't have to ask the spirits if that's the best inn because it's called the High Courtesan Inn. I feel like that means that it's the best.
It's either the trashiest or the best in town. There is no in between with a name like that.
Jewel doesn't agree.
Absolutely.
She's so mad she left.
Jewel returns in disgust.
She just didn't want to hear that it could be the trashiest.
Anyway, I flip my pip, light up the incense, let the trance take hold. Yes, I suppose we must choose our words carefully. In that case, first question. Sorry, I'm just spacing out in real life now. Jesus Christ. Yes.
Are they coming?
Will the White Queen's hunters come to this town next? Is there some greater threat to this region which the Queen protects these people from? Is there someone in this region who would be able to better tell us about the limits of her powers? That's fair. Well, that's alarming. So Daniel will step outside, return to the party, and say, well, good and bad news, I think. The hunters won't come here next. So, unfortunately, we don't know where they're going to strike, but we know that sitting around town isn't going to help us necessarily. Two, according to the spirits, there is actually something that she is protecting them from, oddly enough. I'm going to admit I wasn't expecting that. And I'm not 100% certain that they're not just twisting my words around on me, like protecting them from her own wrath or something, but at least thus far, they have not been duplicitous in their advice. And finally, I asked if there was anyone who knew more about her powers near here, and there was no one. We're not going to get any secret knowledge about her from other than from herself. That does pose an interesting question. If there really is something out there, as malevolent as this seems, and I don't dispute that it's unjust, could there really be something more going on here that we aren't aware of? Maybe we should try to learn more before we do anything hasty.
Well, can't even do it anymore. We should ask around about what the threat is. I feel like that is not a loaded question, so to speak. I mean, if something is out there, the people must know about it because they want the protection.
Possibly. This is a rough one. I probably should have asked a little bit more about that threat, but we'll just have to hit the town, do what we can. Maybe we just turn around, go back up to the Queen's Palace, and ask her ourselves. I'm sure that'll go well for us.
Piss her off.
Pretty sure she didn't want to see us
We've
again.
angered worse.
You mean
I don't think she's inherently evil if she just let us go after we poofed into her space. I don't think that she's inherently evil, but I don't understand why she is ripping children from their homes. So I just want to know why.
when we were at the castle, did we see any servants that were not children? So what happens to the kids when they age out?
That's a good question. I'm also curious where she's getting those guards from.
Because the guards are adults, right? So maybe when the servants age.
And they didn't seem magical, so presumably she recruits from somewhere.
Some of them could be the kids that age out. but depending on how long she's been doing this, unless
That would make fighting her even more horrifying if the soldiers were all like the kids grown up. Oof.
Well, let's start asking around about what the bigger threat is.
Yeah, might as well.
What's the difficulty, Joe? Nope.
Hey.
Ula might be a little bit intimidating.
Jill's just sitting back at the end, like, oh, never mind. She joined us. Oh, look at that. I'm gonna say Jill's just sitting back at the end, kicking back, like drinking her mead. You suckers.
Gonna be here tomorrow.
Ooh, nice.
Yum.
White Winter Winery.
I applaud that purchase. I also applaud that decision.
You're gonna have
Nice.
your own bees to like get the honey.
I wouldn't put past this place.
Blizzard. Shark Blizzard NATO.
Toxic shark, but this time it's cold.
I don't get to hear about the shark. You said the ice blood warriors are people that froze to death in the wild. Okay, died in the cold, and then they're somehow resurrected as these ice warriors.
And she protects from them. She doesn't create them.
You know, it seems like she could possibly be controlling all of these things as well. They all have to do with the winter, the ice, the snow.
Gives off that haughty big city attitude.
It's the slant eye too.
I suppose we meet up again after we've done some digging on our. Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Snoot boop.
Is there a library in town?
Anyway.
Key's gonna want to go there. She wants to research ice magic.
I was trying to catch him as he laid his head down, but as soon as I moved the camera, he looked at me again.
What are you doing, peasant?
Pretty much. He probably works for evil Elsa.
I'm sure.
Pretty good if he knows his name. I feel like cats are on that.
They just don't care.
They're smart, they just don't give a shit.
They know their names, they just don't care.
And here I am having to avoid using names or words because he's sleeping and I don't want him to freak out.
Because he cares about them very deeply.
He does. I do, but I put them through my headphones on purpose.
But we can't be assholes like that. Even if we want to see Pippin. Yes, your offering has been accepted. Such a good boy.
Yes, I agree. Well, yeah, so once we have the lowdown, once we get back together, Key decides that she wants to, I mean, we've got some time, so she's gonna check out the library.
Yes, the situation does get a little bit more complicated as we learn more. I'm certainly no one to sit here and let her have her way with these towns just because she fends off raiders, but We can't necessarily smash our way through here and leave them cleaning up the mess.
And Key will respond back with before she leaves, right now I'm sitting at what can we offer her in exchange for accepting adult volunteers instead of kid essentially taking child tributes.
Could be a start.
These parents shouldn't have to be making these decisions on having to give up their children. And she gets kind of a dark look on her face when she says that, because that's what's happened to her essentially.
Worst case, though, we'll probably need to try to bring people in. I don't know if we can really overthrow her or make her change her ways without getting some other people involved.
Yeah, we walked into other situations without knowing enough. Zombies.
Zombies, the Inquisition, the vampire.
So why stop now?
I'm going to the library, Ula. Would you like to come with me?
I will come with.
I'll come along too. Couldn't hurt.
Jorlak needs to go out and take a walk anyway. If he sits around the fire anymore, he's going to get fat.
All right.
Group trip to the library.
Yep. So would this be knowledge lore? Looking? Okay.
The next game we play should have a specific skill for researching, so that you have to roll against your own research.
It's a good idea for a skill, and it's something we use very often. Let's hit the books.
Maybe they were expecting people to just try to do it off of their own knowledge instead of utilizing libraries like people should, and utilizing Google like people should before calling. Sorry, this is work turning into a
getting
work.
some IT flashbacks.
I can't tell you how many times we get a phone call at work asking for a number for another business. And all I can think of is, how did you get our number?
That gets me a bit too. And honestly, I was flabbergasted once when someone called in and they needed to call someone else. And I asked, "Do you want me to get you that number?" And she says, "No, I can just Google it." And I was like, "Oh my God, you're right. You can do that. Why don't I expect that of more people?"
So what's the difficulty, Joe? Because we just seem to be on tangents today.
Our minds are in other places.
Of my own making, I will admit, half the time.
So you said we're doing lore, right? I love fantasy Google though.
Yes.
I feel like giving Jewel a setback because she knows she's half-assing this.
Oh, thank.
The gosh darn college grads should be able to do
Yeah.
some research in a library.
Man, if that's half-assing it.
Everyone's looking through all these books oh, well, what if we try alphabetical for ice magic? And Jules over here, it's really called frostomancy. You're looking in the wrong section.
Ooh, I can
The
hear
proper term is actually an Elvish, and it starts with an X.
As Key
Start with Dathomir's compendium of different elementals.
gets like 2 paper
This is
cuts.
second
And she's
year
like, God
text.
damn it, Jewel! Just tell me what book to read.
Ooh, I
Note
actually
for
started
later,
reading
though.
about snow survival.
Hell yes.
Definitely going to note it for later, and I expect a boost on my roll if I ever have to talk
Now
about.
this is
if I ever
failing
have to do some
forward.
sort of cold weather survival.
Damn.
Jules like, guys, we didn't even need to come here. I could have just told you all this. Why didn't you tell us? I just wanted to see what you'd do.
It was a test and you failed.
Right?
Jewel hasn't told you guys, but at the university, people used to refer to her as Ice Ice Baby. So like this is all up her alley.
You haven't used ice magic even once this adventure. Secretly, Jewel was very involved in like the local ice skating club for the university. She made like all of the ice rinks. Sounds good.
I'm sure there's like literally RPGs for everything.
Well, I mean, I guess like the intent of what we're doing here is to kind of have an idea of what we're going up against if we end up having to go see her again. Am I correct in that assessment, friends?
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking about like the different monsters that were named too. Some information about those, if we know anything about maybe what wards them off, might give us indication as to what her powers are.
And you know, truthfully, what we're probably looking for is like counters. If fire is useful in all situations or only in some, that sort of thing.
Well,
Time to upgrade Jorlak.
no, 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 no. Absolutely not.
Got to get the dragon glass to deal with those.
Literally what I was looking at right now. I wonder if we could put this region into a climate control bubble.
Just set up big bonfires around.
Just cause a
everything.
couple of ecological disasters.
It's fine.
Flood everyone with the melt running off the mountains.
No, I was thinking more along the lines of like a biosphere. Greenhouse.
Although a few enchantments around the villages specifically could be fun. But that would take really powerful magic.
Probably more powerful than any of us has.
Any of us so far. Alternatively, we try and find and break this curse of Ice Blood Warriors. I'm sure that's a doable quest for the four doofuses here.
Well, I mean,
You're not wrong, and we might happen across the village that they're coming to.
Is there research involved?
I mean, how is that any more of a long shot than anything else that we're
That's a
attempting?
good point. That's a good point. Who knows? Maybe this is somehow connected back to all of the other bullshit we've arbitrarily decided is now our problem. We had a dream once, and now we've decided we're going to get involved with fucking gods and shit.
Oh, and we also have to wait for the signs from that one guy.
Well, right, and if we had
Well,
decided
that's endgame stuff.
if we had decided to completely skip over Dara Coldvar and go to the west in search of dragons too, we would want to go to the north anyway because we can't catch a boat here. Like,
All
are
right,
we giving up on those dwarves?
I'm so. Because, like, I'd be happy to help negotiate some sort of resolution to their conflict. But at the same time, it is a little out of our way now that we've teleported past them, so, you know, we can't be everywhere.
There. That's true. We can only be in one place at once, so
Here's another thought, though.
Anyway,
If there's Ice Blood Warriors here, you would think that they'd be elsewhere. So maybe if we take care of it here, we rid the world of this threat.
but it appears
if we
that
find the source.
that it happens in the north. So if they die farther down, they don't reanimate. Is what I'm getting out of this. So there's some
South
kind
of the
of
wall.
curse or something up there. That's not to say that it doesn't exist in other places and could possibly be a source, but yeah.
I mean, it's currently our best lead on trying to remove one of the threats that she protects people from.
Well, we have all this knowledge and not a whole lot of ideas on what to do with it. What's our plan here? Do we want to brazenly march back up to the palace and ask the queen what her deal is, or do we want to just do some snooping in the wilderness and try to hunt down ancient curses?
I have a feeling in the end we're gonna have to do everything anyway.
I have a feeling Joe will curve us back to his designs one way or another. But what is the thing we're gonna set out with the intention of doing?
Well, I think our main goal at this point is to try to save the children. So we need to figure out if that means talking with the queen.
Well, if this truly were a fairy tale, then we'd go back up there and ask for their freedom and be given 3 impossible tasks or something.
Nothing's impossible. We killed a vampire.
I feel like that sort of thing is considered very possible by most people. Just
Oh, God.
difficult.
We angered a god.
Once again, unusual, but not generally considered impossible. Now, defeating a god, bit of a taller order. But we'll cross that when we get to it. Honestly, I'm in a mood where I'm done overthinking things. I say we try to go up there and bargain with the Ice Queen. We will probably lose any element of surprise we would have had, but we'll figure out what her deal is, or die trying.
As after we've done the research, she'll agree. She's not like super excited about it, but she'll agree. Mainly, she's not excited mainly because the queen basically told her, "Don't get involved in my shit
Well, we
and don't come back."
broke that as soon as we started asking questions.
Yeah, let's just go knock on the door. Let's go the direct route.
Okay.
Since Key wants to try to change her mind anyway and change her ways, this is probably the most
That's
direct way to attempt that.
that's best case scenario.
Look, if she tries to kill us, we'll react from there.
But she also really wants to know why people do evil shit like this.
Well, Key can ask her that too.
Yep, let's do it. She's ready.
Came here for a couple days. Now we're gonna go right back.
But we've got more knowledge this time. We know more.
And on the bright side, we have cold weather survival knowledge. Boom.
We do.
Doesn't keep things from being cold, though.
Every night, like, Key is making like these snow forts that we can hide in that the avalanche would go over us, and digging for snow carrots.
Everybody just like curls up with Jorlak in the middle at night.
We make igloos every night.
Snowman centuries.
Can enchant those.
It's like scarecrows, but for anyone who happens to pass by. You could have saved them, Mr. Police. I gave you all the clues. Oof.
No boost for our knowledge?
Who among us has the best survival?
I have one yellow, one green.
I have 3 green.
1 yellow, 2 green.
Just plain 2 green, so I'm out.
Looks like
Damn,
it's
I guess it really is me.
But you get a boost.
That was hard with a boost and a setback. Fuck.
luckily we haven't gone very far.
Oof. Well, I have an impeccable sense of direction, but unfortunately the snow just makes everything a little bit harder to recognize. It all looks a little bit different from the last time we came this way. Fucking Legolas walking on top of the snow.
So would making fire be conjure? Or would that be a utility spell? But making it warm enough so we end the snowstorm and be able to find our way.
I attack the tinder and kindling.
With a giant fireball. And actually, I'm going to just try to summon some lightning to start it on fire.
Thunder snow.
Well, we might get that if the lady catches wind of what we're trying to do.
What's detect magic again?
I think it's the utility.
I think we should try detecting magic. Well, I mean, if she is using her magic on this mountain to create this kind of snowstorm, we should know that she's fighting actively against us.
I was thinking the same thing. Good idea.
What's the difficulty?
So we really are going to have to go through the dwarf ancient city in the mountain.
So I relay that to the group and then say, I don't think we're going to make it very far without it getting worse.
What do we suggest then? Turning away and seeking out a different goal?
Maybe we try getting teleported again.
Intentionally this time? Oh dear. Well, I suppose it would be a lot warmer.
If
I don't know if there are any mages who can pull something like that off around here, though.
if this storm is magical from her, that indicates that she kind of knows what we're up to.
Quite possibly. There was an unusual amount of snow during my session with the spirits the other day. Maybe she can listen in on that sort of thing.
So true.
For everyone in stream, someone shared a gif of a little corgi hopping through the snow.
And said it was Garn.
That's Garn.
It's very good.
Bravo, Joe. I don't know. He's kind of on the mindset of she's seriously on the mindset of let's pool our resources and make it warm here and directly challenge her.
Like make it warm in this specific spot we are right now, or warm up this region ecologically.
Yeah.
Melt the icebergs. Like,
Yeah.
I'll start getting everybody to mine the coal and burn the coal, and when that runs out, then you do oil and you burn that, and then pretty soon it'll be warmer there.
I'm not certain completely changing the climate of this region is a net positive for anyone involved.
I'm very cold.
Also, I don't think
That's why I
there's enough
asked right
time
here, this specific spot.
to do the entire region.
I mean,
Even if we all did gigantic spells together.
Look. It's times like these we need to take stock of our lives. We are sitting here in a hauled out snowdrift in the ground. Pretty lost. Half an idea that the mountain is going to rain down on top of us as we try to march up there and politely ask this region's local tyrant if she will please kindly stop enslaving the local children. We're being hunted by a god whose name we dare not speak. We're traveling across the continent, chasing a rumor of maybe seeing a dragon that might be connected to something we found earlier and maybe give us some new insights or powers. We have no idea what the fuck we're doing. We're going to die out here in the cold and turn into ice blood warriors. And we don't even have a plan for when we get where we're going, and we can't get to where we're going.
when Tanil says that we're gonna die out here, Jorlak kind of whines and he goes and he like curls up like right around Tanil.
Oh no.
Wants you to be warm.
Or Daniel will give pets. Not like completely present in the moment, but we'll give pets because that's important. I don't mean to be defeatist. I'm committed to trying to fix this, and it's, as we've said, no less impossible than any other wild flight of fancy we have started on. But honestly, we have no idea what the fuck we're doing, and I don't know if we should cut our losses and head back to town or try to soldier on through because we don't know anything better.
You know what we need right now? We need Plowy McPlowface to save us.
Yes.
If only.
Plowy McPlowface is going to be the Twin Cities Region 1 too. Well, since we do
Look,
not have
Daniel is
Plowy
with you. I'm just.
No, she's looking at you like you're so right, but I don't know what to do.
Disaster party. We spent half a session just wondering, what do we do? Oh, we'll just go up there.
Hey,
10
well, we
seconds
tried.
later. We tried. Guess we'll
And
give
we
up this
failed.
quest.
We
We
just
spent a
failed.
day in the snow.
Wait a minute. I don't know if this is going to work, but I have an idea. Remember when we were in the cave and he conjured basically the sun?
But that was light, not heat, wasn't it?
That's what I'm asking. Can we cast basically like a sun that will heat and it can just like go in front of us and melt shit?
I mean, I'm pretty sure my staff does the light on its own now. I can make a bright light without speaking from the staff. But conjuring the sun, I mean, I could try as a utility spell. What? I mean, it would just be upping the difficulty if I wanted to make it emit heat, right? Which I can't use. Yeah, so only Arcana and Primo can conjure a sun.
Primal?
So you two then.
What would the difficulty be on that?
Wait
This
to
point.
collapse our sun into a mini black hole.
I was just gonna say Ula's got fusion in her hands now at this point.
We'll collapse it into a black hole on her castle. After we get the children out, of course.
Huge, if true. What a fucking train wreck.
Plowy McPlowface made me think of
Look,
this.
my best idea was thinking I can try to augment us each day to like give us an extra green die on our survival checks.
But if we conjure a heat sun and use that, we can follow the path that we need to follow without having to roll checks.
I think we'll probably still have to roll to find our way, even if we've been there once before.
It's true, but we won't have to fight against dying against the cold, and we're basically fighting the magic of the storm with our own magic. that really came out self-righteous.
Okay.
Look, we just need to get you like 4 mechanical tentacle arms, and then you'll be able to handle that sun no problem.
A green dye here.
Oh,
I was saving that for a success.
If I can conjure a sun, it should be able to float. Obviously. But we're warm, aren't we?
it's like 50 degrees and drizzling now.
At this point, I figured Daniel like picks up his lute and like starts strumming a little bit, and next thing you know, he's playing like "Here Comes the Sun," like playing, and
Raindrops keep falling on my head. Gotta stick with the Spider-Man 2 theme here. Well, I stand corrected then.
Shall we try to visit our old friend?
Onward to victory or whatever else will befall us.
Waffles. Onward to waffles. Waffles ho.
Now that I am not optimistic for.
Maybe later.
Odds of getting waffles low.
Yeah, she
Should
ain't
be some-
feeding us after this.
should be some good maple syrup country though.
Ooh, yes.
I mean,
And if we
unless
stick around long
Garn still
enough.
has some waffles in his bag,
He might.
just scooping the entire breakfast in.
He could just kind of hold the waffle out towards the fireball to like warm it up.
Seriously, who's got a spigot? Because we could tap a maple tree right now. It'll run.
Anyway,
Let's
should
not
I
worry
make
about
another
that.
survival
Let's
check
go.
to wander up?
Probably.
This is fine. Still hard difficulty, right? Oh my god. I'm sure that will go away as soon as we've left.
It'll be fine.
Whoever heard of a forest fire in is it winter here? Who fucking knows?
It's always winter here.
Always winter and never Christmas.
What was that? Let's go. I'm debating flipping a pip, but I feel like we might need those soon.
I don't know. It's almost 9:30, so
Yeah. Flip it.
True enough. Yeah, I'll flip a pip.
At least get us on the path before we end game tonight.
Holy shit!
You not only find the path.
Oh,
we got all the way there.
I guess we offered enough for the dice gods.
There's a yellow brick road
Satisfied with the blood.
that father goes straight through a castle.
It's
You find a secret tunnel through the mountains.
It leads right into the castle, actually.
Jesus fucking Christ. Can I use one of them to cut down our travel time by a good chunk? Second triumph. This might be too much of a stretch to be realistic. But if, for instance, she didn't already know that we were coming, can she not notice us despite the massive ball of fire that's marching up the fucking mountain?
Look at him think about it.
I think this might be what? Like, because I was just thinking before I rolled is like, well, if she didn't know we were coming, before. She definitely fucking knows now that a fireball is just burning day and night, marching up the mountain slope. The entire fucking region knows we're coming because they can see there's a
There's this-
dragon on the mountain tonight.
There's this giant path through the snow, like all on the sides of it is still just snow. It's just this one.
Fucking floods
Maybe she
rushing
knows
down.
we're coming. Maybe she knows we're coming, but this intrigues the hell out of her, so she wants to come
Oh, now
talk to
that is
us.
a more interesting. That is a more interesting way of framing it. I like it.
She'll meet us.
You know, I was going to kill you on sight, but honestly, what the fuck is even happening here? I have to know. I can't kill you yet until I know.
And Key's like, good, because I can't kill you until I know.
So let the
Well, isn't that
dance
a little bit of a
begin.
pickle we found ourselves? This is going down as a legend.
I love when shenanigans work out.
I can't fucking breathe.
And some moving fog.
It's going to be a hell of a toboggan run when it freezes back
At
over.
least we have an easy getaway then, if we have to run.
Hey, Jamaica's got a bobsled team.
This is like on par with I grab a bucket and pour some water on it. Like
I
That or the
that gives
give me a
killed
blanket
me.
and a bucket, and we will make the fleet think that fucking Darth Vader's telling them to turn around.
I want to know what she says so bad when we get there.
Holy shit.
Joe's got to think of something for her.
Joe's like, how the fuck do I go out
Joe-
here?
Joe predicted 1,000 permutations of what we might have done, but this
This was not it.
this is what got him.
Tom, that was the best role you could have had at the best freaking time.
I'm so glad.
Well,
Daniel is definitely, if we live through this, turning this into like a story about how we like found the fireworm. I'm making up a fictional creature to deceive everyone. I need this to become a weird legend.
years from now, they'll tell the story. I don't know. Does it? I mean, don't make. I don't think that he has to make it up. I think you could just tell this story. Nobody's gonna fucking believe it.
Oh, that's the thing. No one will believe it unless I make up something like, "Oh yeah, we found a fireworm." Just
No,
to make way up
I
the
think you. But if we tell the real story, nobody's gonna believe it.
believe
But
it.
that will become a legend in itself. Did you guys hear
True.
about that group that took a giant fireball up the mountain?
Rode the sun up the mountain.
Oh my god, I'm guaranteeing you Key's just like, I was just throwing ideas out there. I had no clue that this would actually work.
Somewhere there's a kid like saying, "Do I have to eat my vegetables?" Mom says, "Unless the sun comes up in the west, you have to eat your vegetables." And here comes Tom. You know?
Well, wouldn't it take us like a day or two to get up there too? Yeah. So this is a sun that doesn't even set. It just keeps rising.
Or an eternal flame.
Ula was glad she could help. Because that was one hell of a formidable role to succeed
Yeah, like
on.
my role was the meme role, but you're the one who actually succeeded in conjuring the fucking sun. Joe was not just handing that to you.
No, he even upgraded me. There was a chance for a freaking despair there.
Summon a black hole.
This night has been the best squirrel night
Oh,
ever.
what the fuck?
Joe goes to work, he
What a
gets these
match.
ideas, and then we play, and he goes, "Really? You guys are gonna conjure the sun? No, you're not."
Sun
And
goes
we're like,
there.
yeah, we are."
Is that Jorlak? Oh my god.
Yeah, that is totally Chorlac.
It will be on our way back down.
Yep.
The dog rotates so his legs are fully up in the air. It somehow gets worse. The Scooby-Doo gif absolutely killed me. I don't know why that specifically did it, but I couldn't fucking breathe for like 5 minutes after I saw that.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening to
Bye.
After Well.